In this video, I rank 30 iconic animated heroes from different shows, movies, and TV series. We got a pretty cool lineup of heroes, and without further ado, let's get into the ranking. Holy moly, it's been a while since we've done a tier list. I almost forget how to do these frickin' things. So here we are with another spin on an old Void classic. If you were an early member of my channel, you probably remember my animated villains tier list, one of the videos that just got me started. I'm still quite happy with that video, and I still think for the most part it holds up. But since I'm putting some spins on some old classics for the sake of my 1-year anniversary doing YouTube, I figured, hey, I did an animated villains tier list, why don't I do an animated heroes tier list? And massive thank you to T-Tops for helping me come up with some of the heroes. I would have been sitting here for an embarrassing amount of time if he didn't help me. And it seemed pretty fitting that he'd help me out because that was the video that led him to my channel. So thanks for sticking around this long, my guy. But before we get to the ranking, I just want to say, thanks so much for all the recent support on the channel, and we're aiming for 1,700 subs before the end of May, so if you like the way I do things and my just sort of general random assortment of videos, then be sure to drop a sub. I'd really appreciate it. And if you really like the way I do things and want to show a little bit of extra support, then consider becoming a channel member. You get all sorts of cool rewards like early video access, exclusive member-only emotes, a Discord role, a Discord channel to talk in, all sorts of cool stuff like that. So if you want to show a little bit of extra support, consider becoming a member. Thanks, everyone. But with all that out of the way, let's get to this goddamn tier list. I gotta get back in my tier list mindset. It's been forever since the last one. I don't remember the last one. Was it the Hollow Knight one, or was it the Halo one? I don't remember. It's been a while. Either way, first up on our animated heroes list, I think is like the animated hero of all time, Finn the Human. A reincarnation of the Blue Catalyst comment and literally the living, walking embodiment of good. If that's not a hero, I don't know what is. I watched Adventure Time all the time growing up, and it's always just had such a special place in my heart, and Finn's just he's so goofy and so funny, but I think what I like most about Finn's character is that across the 10 seasons of Adventure Time, you do see him mature and change a lot. Like, he tackles his problems much more seriously later on, and where in the beginning he sort of just, like, rubs it off and is like, yeah, mathematical. Mathematical! But I really do love Finn as a character. He's absolutely fantastic, and I think he deserves a very, very respectable S tier. Continuing with the Adventure Time trend, we also have Jake the dog, Finn's loyal companion. And whenever I think of Jake, I just think of his stretchy powers and his, like, know-how of life.
If you get everything you want the minute you want it, what's the point of living? Being crazy is hard. You're getting all hung up on imaginary problems. You gotta focus on what's real, man.
Man is always there to give some crazy good advice for life that, honestly, you could take, like, as an adult and be like, huh, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I should do that. And that's honestly why I like Jake. He is the older brother, but he also feels like a cool uncle sometimes. Also, the man sparked the birth of an entire new species, so he's got to earn some points for that. Though I do have one little gripe with Jake. He's fantastic and a great companion to Finn, but when Finn literally goes into, I guess, hell, the afterlife, the 47th Dead World, whatever it is, I forget what it's called. Finn goes all the way to death and is like, hey, Jake, I'm here to take you back. Come on, man. It's time to go. And Jake is like, nah, man, I'm content. I'm good. I'm gonna stay here. I don't want to go with you. I want to stay here. And I was like, he's your bro. Come on, man. He came all this way for you. And of course, Jake does end up going, but either way, I was like, what the hell, Jake? Like, come on, man. You love your bro. Your bro loves you. Go with him. Go back to being alive. Even if you're not the same people, you'll always be bros. So for that, Jake doesn't quite get an S tier, but I will give him an A tier because he's fantastic. And we have one more Adventure Time character to go over, Fiona, from the Fiona and Cake spinoff, specifically her own show. I'm not going to be talking about the gender bent episodes. Those, though, were very good episodes. I'm going to be talking about her specifically from her own show. I think what I love most about Fiona, and what most other people did too, is that she is the embodiment of all of us after having grown up. We all watched Adventure Time and we all grew up, but she's kind of the embodiment of all of that because we see her go through everyday struggles and the hardships of life, and she's super relatable is what I'm trying to say here. And she's still chasing that, like, magical adventure that, all of us are secretly chasing in our hearts. Like, we all want to relive those whimsical times, but realistically we can't. But she also embodies the hope that maybe one day we'll find another adventure. Maybe not as whimsical and carefree, but one that is very worth our time. So I really love Fiona for that, and I think I'm gonna give her an S tier, but I don't think she's quite as high as Finn. Next up, we have a package deal, an iconic duo of characters. I'm counting them as one thing on the tier list, though. Dipper and Mabel from Gravity Falls. Oh my god, I love Gravity Falls. And now that I'm looking at the tier list, I don't know if this was T-Top's intention, but he picked a lot of heroes from the shows that the villains were in. Like, we had Firelord Ozai in the villains tier list. We have Aang here. We had Bill Cipher in the last one, and we have Dipper and Mabel here. I don't know if that was on purpose, but if that was on purpose, then good on you, mate, for sending me this list. But yeah, Dipper and Mabel from Gravity Falls. I love these two. There isn't a moment they aren't on screen that I'm not enjoying them, except for when Dipper was kind of an ass and was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this internship with Ford and let you go to high school by yourself. That was kind of mean, and they make up for it later in a really, really touching scene, but that's kind of my only problem with Dipper, really. Other than that, he's fantastic.
Not.
And they're just two goofballs who just kind of goof their way through everything, and Dipper tries to be serious, but he's really not, where Mabel just embraces her silliness and just goes all out and isn't afraid to be who she is, and they're just great. Like, it's the ideal sibling ship, like, just in your mind. Like, you think of, oh, what's, like, the ideal siblings? You think, oh, Dipper and Mabel, no question about it. And I'm gonna give them an A tier. I think they're definitely higher than Sir Jake. Next up, we have Avatar Aang.
I believe Aang can save the world.
Aang has got to be one of the single best protagonists ever produced. Period. Throughout the 3 seasons of the show, you see him grow, you see him learn. Seeing him learn the different elements, it's just like, it's one of my favorite parts of the show, seeing him learn the other elements. Like, one of my single favorite episodes of Avatar was when he was first learning earthbending. That was such a great episode. Aang is probably maybe the most powerful avatar in the Avatar cycle, but because of the fact that he's an airbender, people, nomads raised to be peaceful and respecting life and seeking enlightenment, he never, ever wants to use his powers for violence if he doesn't have to. He fights very defensively. He genuinely doesn't want to hurt anybody, and I think that is what is so great about his character. I mean, hell, his major arc in Book 3 Fire was that the fact that everybody, even his past lives, were telling him that he had to kill Firelord Ozai, take his life, no questions asked. But with his perseverance and keeping his values close to his heart and never giving in, he finds another way. And that is what is so fantastic about his character. I don't think there's any other protagonist in any other show that has made me feel more hopeful than Aang. And for that, he gets a very, very high S tier. Also, by now, I'm sure you've noticed I didn't really bother cropping any of the images I got for this tier list. I was just feeling lazy. Also, I did it to bother all the people with OCD, so I hope you're suffering. Continuing with the Avatar trend, we have Uncle Iroh. I mean, come on. It's Iroh. Everybody. There isn't a soul alive who doesn't love Iroh. And if you don't like Iroh, there is something wrong with you. Like, you have some sort of disease or something. He's this wise yet extremely goofy guy, and even though his nephew, Zuko, is extremely volatile and filled with rage all the time, Iroh never stops being a loving uncle because he knows that his, Zuko's actual father, Ozai, treated him horribly. I mean, scarred his face and banished him. I mean, hell, that's pretty brutal. But another reason I really love Iroh is because of the fact that he's not really on anyone's side. He's on the side of life, specifically. He'll always back up his nephew, Zuko, every time, but, like, how many encounters has Iroh had with the other, like, main members of Team Avatar, like, just on their own, just one-to-one? I mean, it happened with Toph, it did happen with Aang, there's probably some other ones I'm forgetting, but Iroh has probably had some of the biggest positive influence Not just on the show, but on all of us. Like, we can stand to learn a thing or two from Iroh as individuals and as a species. If Iroh was in the Adventure Time universe, he would definitely be the next reincarnation of the Blue Catalyst Comet, no questions asked. He's just the best guy. I mean, like, that's just how it is. He's just the best. And I'd feel horrible if I gave him any less than an S tier. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Next up, we have Luce from the Owl House. Oh, yes. And give me any excuse to talk about the Owl House, and I will go on for hours. But I'll try and keep it under an hour here. Just like Fiona, I think Luce is very relatable to all of us. Maybe not every single one of us, but to all of those who don't feel like they quite fit in, or they feel different from everybody, or just that, you know, the typical standards of what everyday life expects from us just doesn't work for you. I think if you fall in that category, then Luce will be extremely relatable for you. I mean, hell, she even changed, like, this stuck-up principles, ideals of how magic should be taught just because of just how she is and her deeds and everything. And it's just like, she's fantastic. And she's just adorable. I mean, come on, look at that face. Not to mention, she's like a true hero. And when I say that, I don't mean like she defeats the big bad or whatever, but she's a true hero in the sense that she's always true to her friends and she always puts them ahead of herself. And that's, you know, I mean, yeah, a lot of the characters we've talked about already also embody that trait, but with Luce, like, we see a lot of consequences for it. Like at the end of season 1 where she gets trapped in the demon realm, and it's like, wow, she sacrificed her only way home to ensure the safety of everyone there and prevent the big bad from doing his big bad plan. Like, that takes a lot of self-sacrifice and a lot of willpower to do so, but man, she's fantastic. She's great, and she's just so fun to watch when she comes on screen. She's just like, she's whimsical and funny, but she also understands like the seriousness of the situation she's in, and she never takes it too lightly. I think out of like recent media, Luce is probably one of the most balanced characters in the sense of, you know, really entertaining and really fun, but in regards to the story, she's also aware of how serious and how dire situations really are, and she never, ever for a moment takes them any less seriously than she should. And that's what I really like about her character. I don't think she quite holds a candle to some of the other S tier, so I'm going to be giving her an A tier. I don't know. It's hard. Does she go above the iconic duo, or does she not? I don't know. I think I'm going to put her right behind Dipper and Mabel for now, just because Gravity Falls has so much nostalgia value for me, but she's fantastic. She's great. Next up, we have Ash Ketchum from the Pokemon series. Time to get a bit controversial. I'm gonna be real when I say that in everyday episodes of Pokemon, and when the world isn't ending, like in Rise of Darkrai, I f***ing hate Ash. Okay, I shouldn't phrase it like that, but Kid is in way over his head, and the man's just kind of... he's kind of stupid. However, points where they are earned. Ash has displayed incredible determination. He's also stayed very true to his friends. That's a big criteria for me on this list. He stays very true to his friends. And, you know, even when he's knocked down, he doesn't quit. And that's, you know, that's hard, because a lot of heroes who get knocked down, they stay down for a while before finding their way. But Ash just keeps on going, and I got mad respect for that. Can't deny that. I think my issue with Ash is not necessarily his traits and, like, emotional abilities as a hero. My problem is just with his personality. He's just kind of annoying. But I can't rank him too low, so I'm going to give him a B. Next up, we have Peter Pan from Peter Pan. I mean, he's just a classic. I mean, he's very, like, his sort of character arc throughout the movie is that, like, he's a very one-dimensional thinker, and, like, he wants, God, I forget the girl's name. He wants her to stay there for, like, you know, forever, never grow up, all that, but I do like his, like, whimsical, fun-having, easygoing personality. I like people like that, but, you know, he's one of those characters where it takes a really serious emotional blow and a physical blow for him to realize that, like, oh, maybe I should take this a little bit more seriously, be a little bit more grown up about it. But that's kind of my biggest, I guess, issue with this character, is that it takes, like, it has to be like he has to hit rock bottom and also bring everyone down with him before he realizes that, you know, has hit the fan. But what's important is that he does realize it and he does right his wrongs. So I can't fault him too hard for that, but I'm only going to be giving him a B because I don't think, in my opinion, mind you, in my opinion, I don't think he ranks much higher than any of the other people we've done so far. All right, next up we have Sif Joestar. You like that transition, didn't you? Nice. T-Tops just put JoJo on the list he sent to me, so I was like, which JoJo? But I decided to pick my favorite, which is Joseph Joestar in his prime. His wittiness and ability to use sleight of hand to pretty much get out of any situation he's in. I'm just like, it's just so fun and entertaining. It's like, you got me, haha, but you didn't because I did this when you weren't looking, aka off screen. And I know a lot of people hate him for that, but to me, it's just the funniest I will say though, like up until the battle with Wamu, I didn't have, or I guess Caesar's death would be where I started having like major respect for him. But up until those serious events towards the end of Battle Tendency, I didn't really respect him. I enjoyed him and enjoyed his presence on screen, but I didn't really find my respect for him yet. But at that point, when he showed honor to Caesar, and when Wamu showed that same honor back, and then Joseph continued to return that same honor to Wamu, that was like, okay, yeah, Joseph's a true warrior. It's how he is. He might be really funny and stupid and gets out of situations in a really dumb way, but he is a true warrior, and I have to respect that. I'm gonna give him an A tier. Right there, looks good. All right, next up is Goku. I haven't watched a whole lot of Dragon Ball recently. I watched it a bit when I was a kid, like a decent amount. I don't remember how many editions I watched. I've never read the manga. Is there manga of Dragon Ball? I don't know. I'm very out of touch with my Dragon Ball culture. But I did watch some Dragon Ball growing up, and I liked... oh, you know what? I just had a memory flashback. I remember there were like 2 Dragon Ball shows that aired on TV. One of them was like normal Dragon Ball, and the other one like took place like back in time. Like Goku got sent back in time, and he was like a small boy. I don't remember the name of that one, but if someone... Ovid, if you can figure it out, put it on screen. If you can't figure it out, then someone in the comments say what that show was, because just sudden memory flashback, had to get it out there. I like Goku. I remember his training arc pretty... I remember it decently. It was nice seeing him train and seeing him fine-tune his skills, but I feel like in the later seasons, he's just kind of invincible and unstoppable. He's still like... You know, he's still fun to watch on screen. And overcome these insurmountable odds. Frieza fight. But I don't really have too much else to add on Goku. Like, you know, he's fun. He's a great example of a good hero. But he's kind of, I don't know, he's kind of generic in my opinion. He's kind of bland, just a little bland. I like him, but that's kind of it. So I'm gonna be giving Goku a B tier. Next up, we have one of my favorites on this list, Catbug.
Okay!
Catbug is from a show called Bravest Warriors. Definitely go watch it. The first 2 or 3 seasons are just for free on YouTube. Fantastic show. If you like Gravity Falls and Adventure Time and want like a sort of slightly more mature version, then watch Bravest Warriors. It's a great show. Catbug is just the best. He's funny. He's silly. He also has like ridiculous interdimensional powers, able to swap between 2 different dimensions at random. And he's just so funny. And the kid who voices him, I've heard him in other things before, but Catbug, he's just cute. He's just a little guy. I actually have a Catbug plushie. I'll throw a picture of that on screen right now. I just love Catbug. Though I question if he belongs on the heroes list because, I mean, if you just look at his blank stare and eyes and the way he holds his hands together, he looks like he has plans for world domination. And even if he did have plans for world domination, I'm sure it would just to be like smother everyone with cuteness and make everything happy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I love Catbug. One-dimensional though, and I'm kind of trying to be as analytical as possible with most of these heroes. So I'm gonna give him an A tier. If I was going off of objectiveness, he'd probably be lower, but just because I love Catbug so much, I'm gonna put him in A tier. Mark Grayson in... Do I really need to say any more than that? Next up, we have Megamind, a true classic. Megamind is great. I think one of the biggest reasons a lot of people love him is because of the fact that his main, his villain, his obstacle to overcome, his antagonist, obviously there's Titan, but his antagonist is his inner conflict. And, he's a villain, but that's just because everyone called him one, but he didn't really want to be one. Sometimes you are told you are something, and then eventually you realize you're not. And that's that's a great thing to learn and realize. Also, the man's just funny as hell. I mean, it's Megamind. I mean, come on now.
You were right. I was...
Bruh.
I feel like I'd be doing him a disservice if I gave him anything less than an S tier. Next up, we have
Jimmy Neutron, boy genius.
Croissant.
I mean, Jimmy Neutron was my jam growing up. I loved Jimmy Neutron. I would watch the movie where all the parents get abducted by aliens. I would watch that on repeat for hours. I'm sure it drove my mother mad, but it's just so good. It's so great. Jimmy is a genius, but he's kind of a know-it-all, and I feel like in a lot of episodes and a lot of scenarios, he acts like he's better than everyone else because of his genius. He doesn't do it outright. He's not outwardly spoken about feeling better than everyone else, but subtly you can tell just his demeanor, and the way he conducts himself, the way he walks, the way he struts. You can just tell he thinks he's kind of better than everyone else. But I do got to give him props. Man's a genius. He is a genius, and he did go, all the way in the movie. He did go all the way to realizing just how badly he messed up sending out that satellite to the aliens, and he makes it his number one priority to make some spacefaring ships to go rescue their parents. As soon as he realized he messed up, he did not stop, and he refused to stop until the parents were rescued, and that is really admirable. I think I'm gonna give Jimmy a B tier. I don't think he quite ranks as high as the other ones. I just love him. He's fun. But in terms of being a hero, he ranks a little bit lower. Next up, we have Gru.
I fly to
Audio Jungle.
If I see a single Minion meme or Minion comment in my video, or if I see any Minion memes in the Discord after this video is posted, I'm banning you. And I'm not even capping. You can be like, he won't do it. And even if you're a veteran, you're not exempt. T-Tops, Slimeboy, Spicy, any of you post a Minion meme in the Discord, I'm banning you for life. Gru, in a similar fashion, not directly similar, but similar-ish to Megamind, is trying to be a villain. But Gru is more villain-esque at the start, because he is legitimately trying to do villainy things, but he's doing it for the sake that he wants notoriety. He wants to be acknowledged as one of the greatest villains ever. But as time goes on, the appeal of being villainy just kind of dwindles, and he just he becomes a family man, villain turned family man. That's a great story. And, he never does anything to hurt anyone. He never actively hurts people. So, that's another one of his hero qualities, is that he never tries to hurt anybody, which is huge. And I just like him. His accent, his, character design, everything. He's funny. He's enjoyable. He's entertaining. It's Gru. I mean, come on now. I like Gru. I'm going to put him in high B. I would say low A, but I think he ranks closer to high B. That's just for me, though. That's just my opinion. And next up... Yeah, Wally. I love Wally in every sense of the word. He is a great character. It's a fantastic movie. And by the way, if you haven't watched Wall-E, I'm going to assume all of you watching this have seen Wall-E. We really need to be careful about our environments. It's been made clear many times by many movies and shows. Wall-E and Battle for Terra are two of my best examples. Take care of the environment, everyone. Recycle. If you see some trash on the street, pick it up, throw it out properly. Just respect Mother Nature now. She's all we got. But Wall-E as a hero, he's great. He's lovable. He's adorable. He's very simple-minded. Man's only motivation for years was the task given to him. But then he falls in love. A robot falling in love. It's a timeless classic. And the scene where he messes with Mo, the cleaning robot. That's got to be the best scene in the movie, no cap. I love Wally. He's great. I'm gonna put him in high A, right above Joseph Joestar. Yeah, that feels right. That feels right. Next up, we have a more recent protagonist, Charlotte Morningstar from Hazbin Hotel. Who here has watched Hazbin Hotel? Raise your hand. Okay, that's what I thought. I love Charlie. She's fantastic. She's cute. She's adorable. She's, fun-loving and likes to be as whimsical and optimistic as possible when she literally lives in hell. And I think her character, just by herself in the setting she's been put in, I don't know if this was the direct intention, but I think it is a commentary on the fact that some people in today's world are really optimistic and really positive and kind of, she's kind of an example of, even though everything might seem horrible, like really terrible, you gotta look for the good in everything. And that's great. That's a fantastic lesson. No matter what happens in the show, she doesn't give up on her ideas, and staying true to that in the kind of setting she is in is really difficult. I mean, hell, I don't remember the episode, but I think it was the episode Lucifer came in. Dad Beat Dad, I think that was the name of the episode. She was literally up for hours trying to figure out why the hotel wasn't working, and she has like a conspiracy theorist board, and her hair's all ruffled, and her clothes are all messed up. You can just tell she's dedicated. She's dedicated. She goes all the way. She doesn't stop. Like, she literally does not stop. Also, total side note here for my Hazbin Hotel conspiracy theorists out there. Who is it just me, or is the only thing I'm curious about in season 2 and anticipating is how Alistair is going to use his deal with her in the next season? I don't know. That's the only thing that I can think about when I think about the show anymore. That and the banger soundtrack. But yeah, Charlie's fantastic. I love her to death. She's a great protagonist, and I think I'm gonna give her high A, right above Jake, but not quite above Luce. And for this next one, we're gonna have to go back to the past.
Back to the past. Samurai Jack.
I love Samurai Jack. I loved watching it growing up. I didn't always get to watch it growing up because it was on specific channels at specific times, and I wasn't always around the TV when that happened. But for the episodes and parts of the show that I did watch, it was just really fun. I mean, Samurai Jack's a great character. He's serious, but he also knows sort of when to wind down a bit. When a samurai knows when to rest. A good samurai always know when it's time to rest and have patience. And his relationship and dynamic with Aku is just one of the best to ever occur. It's fantastic. I love Samurai Jack and Aku in the same room. There's magic to be happening there.
Yes!
Okay, I'm gonna rank him before I end up ruining childhood memories. Samurai Jack gets I'm gonna say mid A, right above Charlie. I wish I could go through walls, disappear, and fly. My life would be so much better if I could just disappear. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Danny Phantom. For me, Danny Phantom, just the show as a whole, always kind of was the weirder / stranger Nickelodeon show for me, except for Life of a Teenage Robot. That show was also pretty strange to me growing up. Danny Phantom was just so different compared to other shows. It just felt like the vibes it gave, just felt very different. But I really loved Danny Phantom. It was a fantastic show. Danny himself, very proud, kind of weird, but what half ghost, half human isn't weird? I mean, come on now. I don't remember too much because I haven't watched Danny Phantom in a spell, but I kind of remember Danny being a little bit angsty because I think he's a teenager in the show. I think he's 13. Hang on, let me do quick search here. Yeah, he was 14, right? Yeah, he was 14. That's how old he was. And you can sort of see some of that early teen angst and early teen emotional conflict coming out, and I think maybe that's why I found the show a bit stranger growing up, is because I couldn't relate to it as much. But I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd be like, oh yeah, this was if I was, in similar age range to Danny, I could probably relate to a lot of the stuff he's going through. Since I can't remember too much, I don't want to give him such a high ranking, because if I remembered more, then I'd probably give him a higher ranking, but I think I'm going to put him above Ash, but not quite above Gru. I love Danny Phantom, though. Fantastic show. And this is one you should all know. Barry the Platypus. You just can't go wrong with Perry. The way Perry would subtly and quietly leave at the start of the episode and then return as a normal platypus at the end of the episode after all the shenanigans had gone down with Phineas and Ferb. It was just great. It was classic. It was like, oh, hey, Perry, where you been? And it's like, no one ever questions it. One thing I always remember about Phineas and Ferb is that once a year, on the same day every year, they would air the movie. I forget the name of the movie, but it was like, it was to do with the multiverse. Like, they would go into this alternate multiverse where Doofenshmirtz is legitimately evil, Perry doesn't exist, and I don't remember if Phineas and Ferb were evil in the other dimension, but it's a dimension where Doofenshmirtz is legitimately evil. And I would always remember that movie. That was, honestly, for me, that was peak Perry, because man finally reveals his identity to Phineas and Ferb, and it's so cool seeing how they struggle with, like, you were keeping this a secret the whole time throughout the movie, but then they eventually forgive him. And that was just a really great arc. And what I love so much about Perry's dynamic with Doofenshmirtz is that, like, Perry's not trying to stop him because, like, he has any sort of personal grudge with him, or that, like, you know, like, he's villain, or, like, oh, he needs to be stopped. It's like, no, they're just kind of like, they're almost friends. Like, Perry and Doofenshmirtz are almost like buddies. I think I'm going to be giving Perry a high A, I think right behind Samurai Jack. That feels right in my head. All right, we have another package deal here. The Incredibles. Incredibles was one of my favorite movies growing up. It's probably still one of my favorite movies. And I mean, it was an interesting commentary on superheroes. I think the reason I like Invincible so much is for the same reason that I like The Incredibles so much, is because it shows more realistic / how superheroing would actually be if it were happening in real life. Like the more grittiness and more like, you know, deals happening under the table and stuff like that, like, and how superheroes are more like government agents rather than, you know, typical superheroes. I think those two things in both in Invincible primarily, I think the reason I like Invincible so much is because Incredibles was also kind of like that. That's probably why I like Invincible so much. I think one of the reasons I also liked Incredibles was like the creative uses they used for all their different powers. Like in that one scene where Elastigirl turned into a boat and then Dash used his speed abilities to like act like a motor. I thought that was a really cool scene. Creativity and solving problems in an interesting way with superpowers is, like, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. I feel like I'm ranking the movie here, not this heroes. Okay, let's start going down the line. Elastigirl, is she naturally thick? Dash, troublesome speedster who gets into trouble but doesn't really mean any harm. Violet, angsty girl who likes a boy but is also super nervous and shy. Baby with every power, kind of ridiculous, but is pretty, you know, just comic relief in the first movie. And of course Bob, strong man. Big strong man, just the strong man of the group. But I doubt Bob is strong enough to get Frozone out of his date night with his wife and help him find his super suit.
Where is my super sauce?
That was the best thing to come out of that movie, let's just be honest. But yeah, The Incredibles as a package deal, I like them. Like, their characters go through, like, since there's a lot of them, you know, a couple protagonists, their arcs are a bit smaller. They still are very impactful, but again, I feel like Syndrome's kind of the main character of the movie. But I like The Incredibles. It was a good movie, and I enjoyed the characters all pretty well. I'm going to put them right below Joseph Joestar. I'm assuming T-Tops threw this one in here just for you, Grim. We're ranking Grim from The Adventures of Bill and Mandy. Who in the comments actually remembers this show? I mean, honestly, does anyone in the comments section watching this video, do any of you actually remember this show? Because it's old. Grim was hilarious. He was just always taking the blame, always dealing with so much from the two kids. And man, I don't know what the man did to deserve this. Man deserves so much better. Hashtag justice for Grim from Bill and Mandy. He's witty, he's sarcastic, his voice is just so funny. I love Grim. He's great. He's great.
I feel so violated.
I don't really remember too much of the show, like lore details and stuff. I remember all the character, like, their general traits and personalities, but I don't remember too much about the show, so I don't really know what Grimm's, like, character arc is. Maybe learning to like the kids more than he did at first, I don't know. But Grimm's good. I like him. I'm gonna put him right above Jimmy Neutron. Next up, we got Woody from Toy Story. Buzz, look, an alien! Woody is a walking meme. Let's just be honest. He is a meme. He is a walking meme. And I'm only going to judge Woody from his appearance and character arc in the original Toy Story. I don't feel like I should base his character ranking off of anything else. Woody's whole arc in Toy Story was basically trying to overcome jealousy. And that's a hard thing to do. Jealousy in any movie, show, or media used as a character arc, I always find super captivating. Because, I mean, when haven't any of us been jealous of something or someone in our lives? Like, it's super relatable. And jealousy and fear of replacement, that is Woody's primary arc. And I feel like all of us, at least at one point in our lives, have felt that way. If you're not a single child and you have siblings, when your parents told you were going to have a sibling, did you feel fear of replacement or fear of jealousy or anything like that? Because I'd genuinely like to know. That is, if you feel comfortable sharing that sort of thing. I'm not trying to pry. But Woody goes to some pretty extreme extremes to ensure his place as the number one toy, and man regrets it. And he's like, wow, I did Buzz so dirty. So after that, he really embraces his cowboy self, I guess. I don't know. Woody doesn't really come across as a cowboy. He just kind of comes across as an asshole at first. But Woody embraces his cowboy self and is like, I'm going to save my friend. I'm going to rescue him at all costs because I know it'll make Andy? Is that the kid's name? I know it'll make Andy happy. And then that whole closing scene with the rocket and everything, it's classic. You can't go wrong with it. And I have to give Woody major props for getting over his character arc as well as he did. Fear of replacement and jealousy are extremely difficult obstacles in anyone's life. And the way they presented him going through the different stages of dealing with that was really well. And I think Toy Story might be one of my favorite Disney movies. I'm definitely, if I ever have kids, definitely going to be a thing that they watch. So Woody, my good friend, I think I'm going to be giving you, I think an A tier, I think right above Samurai Jack. Next up, we have Hercules. I know Grim will have some thoughts about this one, but he's not here, so I don't need to worry about that. I like Hercules. I enjoy the movie. It's fun. But, I don't know, as a character, Hercules is kind of like, I don't know, his arc kind of felt a little bit weak to me. I don't know. Like, I love the movie, don't get me wrong, but his character arc kind of feels a little bit weak. I mean, let's be real. None of us watch Hercules for Hercules. We watch it for Hades.
The fates are here and you didn't tell me!
But I don't know, he's just like, he's a hero, and I acknowledge that he is a hero, and he's definitely earned his title as a hero, but I don't think he ranks super high on this list at all. I'm gonna put him right here, right below Jimmy Neutron. I definitely got more out of Jimmy's arc than I did out of Hercules', that's for sure. So to all my Hercules fans, I'm sorry to do him dirty like this, but this is just my opinion, so, suck it. Next up, we have Mulan. Fantastic hero, straight off the bat. Also, we are never, and I mean never, tainting my channel with any talk about the live-action remake. I refuse to cave in. Mulan is a great character because she shows that it doesn't matter what you are, what matters is what you do and the choices you make. And I think that is a really powerful lesson. And, I'm all for female empowerment and all that stuff. That's fantastic. I'm all for that kind of stuff. How they've been handling said female empowerment in recent media, I can't say they've been handling it well, in the sense that they're letting it essentially ruin the potential of the story. But in Mulan's case, they did the story very well, whilst also getting that inclusiveness in as a very, natural part of her character arc. And that's what I really liked about her character, is that, yes, her character arc is that she's a woman and she can't be a soldier. But the way they presented it with female empowerment as well as just being empowered as a hero, they blended together very naturally. And that's why I liked the original Mulan. Her character arc's very good. I think it speaks to a lot of people. And I think I'm going to be giving Mulan an A tier. I'm going to put her right above... right below Jake. Next up, we have Simba from The Lion King. We had Scar in the tier list, too. A lot of reflections. You know what? Down in the comments below, I have a challenge. How many of these heroes from this heroes tier list are from the, are the protagonists of the villains from the villains tier list? Because I feel like it's a lot of them. But yes, Simba and The Lion King in general. Fantastic film. And I like Simba. He didn't have the ideal raising. He wasn't raised under ideal conditions. But what he was taught and what he learned to do through those lessons, I loved it. He goes kind of from fun-loving and, just trying to make the best of life with Timon and Pumbaa, But then when he gets older and the threat of Scar becomes very real, even though he is lied to by that one female lion, I forget her name. I'm pretty sure she lied to him about something anyway. Even though he was lied to, and even though he finds out Scar killed his father, and he kind of goes into a bit of a fit of rage, he does sort of end up... He ends up a hero. He definitely ends up a hero. I think Scar got done a little bit dirty, but I think there's no way the Lion King could have ended without Scar biting the dust, because that's just karma. If Simba actively killed Scar, I'd probably have a much different opinion on him, but he didn't deliver the final blow, so I'll consider that like a mercy from Simba. Man becomes head lion, order is restored, and the hyenas piss off back to their caves. It's just, he did good. Simba did really good. I'm gonna give him a high B. I do love Simba, but I don't think he ranks higher than the people in A and S tier right now. I do love Simba though, don't get me wrong. Fantastic. Next up, we have Robin from Teen Titans, but I'm specifically talking about Robin from the Justice League Dark movies. That whole timeline of Justice League and then Justice League Dark, or no, it was Justice League War, Justice League Dark, Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. Fantastic movies. Go watch them if you haven't. They are really good. I want to talk about Robin specifically from these movies because A, they're more fresh in my mind, and B, I really like how serious his character is. Characters who feel a lot of emotion, and I mean a lot of emotion, but refuse to let it show because they think it's a sign of weakness, I have respect for that because it makes them into hard-ass warriors. And if there's one thing Robin is in these movies, he's a hard-ass warrior. But at the end, ultimately you could tell he still cares about family more than anything. He sacrifices himself for Batman, and it was just a really touching moment. I really love this iteration of Robin. I don't know if he's the best iteration of Robin, but I do really like this version of him. So I'm going to be giving this Robin probably high B again, right above Gru. That feels correct. Next up, we have He-Man. I mean, He-Man's kind of like just like the hero. He's kind of the embodiment of like the hero. He's like, you know, he has his funny and silly moments, but he's kind of bland. I love He-Man, don't get me wrong. His character is more of an entertainment type of character than a full story arc like a lot of the other people on this list. But I do like He-Man. He's good, but I don't remember too much about the original He-Man show. I never watched a lot of it. I did watch plenty of episodes, but I didn't watch like the full extent of it. So I think I'm gonna be giving He-Man like, I don't know, like a B. I definitely like him more than Hercules, but I don't think he quite beats Jimmy Neutron for me. And down to our last contender. This one, a lot of you might not know about, at least not in the version I'm talking about, but we have the Silver Surfer from the 1998 cartoon, I think it was the 90s, I could be wrong. I love this show, period. Full stop. I loved the Silver Surfer series. I was so mad that they left it on a cliffhanger and then the series never got rebooted. So mad. But yes, the Silver Surfer, initial herald for Galactus, the Devourer? Do they call him I don't know if they call him the Great Devourer or the Devourer of Worlds. I don't remember what they call him. He's the Devourer of Gods. Devourer of Gods. Galactus and the Devourer of Gods are the same. Initially, he's a herald, but then he unlocks some of his memories after an encounter with Thanos, and he's like, bro, what I'm doing is wrong. I'm not serving you anymore. Go piss yourself. And, Galactus was just kind of like, yeah, okay, I don't need you. I'll find someone else. And then he goes on a really, really, really long adventure to try and find his missing homeworld, to try and find the people he loves. His voice actor is really good. I really enjoyed his voice actor. I don't know the name of the guy who voice acted him, but I'll throw it on screen now. I really loved his voice actor. His character was pretty one-dimensional, but he did learn some things, and like, I think one thing that I really liked about the Silver Surfer's arc in this show particularly is that he learned restraint. And I love when characters have to learn restraint. Because at one point he meets Ego, the living planet, and he basically kills Ego. And then he's like, wait a minute, Ego's not evil. He's not, he's not inherently a bad force. Then he's like, I gotta help him. And then he uses his power cosmic to sort of save Ego from the death he just inflicted on him. And then Ego was like, why did you save me? And Silver Surfer's like, well, you're not necessarily evil, you know, you only have yourself, and you got to look out for yourself, and you're trying to take my power cosmic, and I understand why you were doing it. So seeing characters learn restraint with their powers, realizing like, oh, I can hurt someone really badly if I'm not careful. I love those kinds of character arcs. But yes, I really like the Silver Surfer. This show has a pretty special place in my heart. I don't think he quite earns an S tier, but I'll give him a very high A. Definitely above Woody. Yeah, for sure. Silver Surfer's great. He's fantastic. And that's my final ranking for all these animated heroes. Once again, massive thank you to T-Tops for helping me sort out the list. I made a few slight alterations to it just because there were some inclusions, like the Silver Surfer, for example, that I wanted to get in there. But thank you a whole bunch, my man, for helping me compile this list. And of course, if you want to do this tier list for yourself and share it in the Discord to say I'm wrong, I suck, and my opinions are god-awful, then please feel free to do so. Link in the description to do this tier list. And again, I don't know where the channel's going to be by the time I upload this, but we're trying to go for 1,700 subs before May is out. So if you like my content, if you like this video or any of my videos, then be sure to drop a sub. It would really mean a lot to me. And if you want to show a little bit of extra support and you really like the way I do things, then consider becoming a channel member. Not only does it directly support me, but you get all sorts of cool perks like member-only emotes, early video access, member-only community posts. Sometimes I post real-life updates on there sometimes, like actual photos from my life. Never see my face, though. Sorry, members. That one's staying under lock and key for right now. But yeah, if you want to show that extra support, then consider becoming a channel member. Thanks, everybody. That's gonna do for now, though. I hope you're all enjoying the little remasters I'm doing of my old videos for the 1 year special. There's not gonna be any 1 year special dedicated video because I just put out the 1K special like a month ago. So consider all these little remasters the 1 year special. But that's gonna do it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, have a good day, everyone.